What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sleep Atomic, and today we're gonna go over Miss Marvel, episode 5, Time and Again. This seems like a good episode. It kind of seems like they got some actors from another country, or maybe they were just like some people like from another country, and the acting thing was a side gig, and they jumped out of the office to do this. Just like, oh yeah, I got the audition. It's like, oh, I got the audition. But most of the bulk of the episode is like makes it feel like definitely like from another time, but maybe it's just because like it's a different language you're not aware of. Maybe you are and you know what they're saying, but even still, it kind of at least reminds me of like these old DVD sleeves or like uh movie covers, and they weren't from here exactly, but they remind me of like the type of people that would be acting on it. And it's like so good of a drama that you almost like are offended when there's like some real action, like for an action movie. It's like that doesn't quite fit here, but separately, if I'm paying attention to them, that they're good. It would be like a crossover, but not the usual kind most people watching this would be expecting. Like I said, it would be a usual drama, and then all of a sudden, like some action, and some of the action stars come by, like they were literally in the neighborhood. There is like a struggle and running away thing, like at the beginning, but I doubt anyone would be like throwing a knife like that. Maybe cartoonishly in the drama, they would maybe brandish like a knife or something, but no one would actually be using it. But not to compare it to anything else. But our man Hassan is doing all the smoothest things like ever, like the food and rest thing of the old world pickup line. Then I don't know if he like switches tactics, but then he's like, "Oh, should I just go and call you hungry, or do you have a name?" But really, he's like more there for like the conversation to be had. And you really can tell. Not to be rude to his character, but some people would say it's like kind of long winded what he's saying instead of just like saying what he's saying. But it reminds me of Kamala's dad. And then just like Kamala, it's like, oh yeah, I used to be just like that. I don't know if they will ever make the joke, but it's like, yeah, I used to be smooth and suave. And then like on cue, like Kamala would be like incredulous of it. But it's just like how like they age. Like before, her Abu or dad like wouldn't have the option of looking anything but suave. But then like he got so experienced and aged that he the whole field switched over. They do that with Kamala's mom too. Like later, she shows like the album to her, or this photo album to her, and her nanny, or like, and Kamala's mom, or Ami. I think I'm getting the lingo right. Are looking at the album, and it's like, oh look, it's '80s. Your mom, but it's like, it kind of just looks like, oh yeah, like some lady in a black mostly, and this cool like blazer jacket or something, this club jacket. It's like I'm not really picking up the rebel thing, but yeah, that's definitely a far cry from what it would be expected from her right now. She's more like, what? You left the country for Bon Jovi? And there's these ones that aren't obviously like doctored. Like it makes me wonder if like she like grabbed a picture from her own photo album. Like there was a time when there's like there were people were like always doing the age regress photos, just showing off that they could do that. But this one's like her hair's all curly. It's like in like a lady '80s mohawk thing. I forget what you call that, but you could see like her ears perfectly, and like it almost looks like her hair, sides of her hair is shaved down. But I think it's just like tied up, and you're like probably like thinking of your most memorable like '80s songs while you're like looking at that. I imagine like Cyndi Lauper and like her jacket and like dress, pants thing, look, whatever she does, and that you think you're alone now. But it seems like Aisha is the more less experienced one, I guess conversation wise, and Hassan is the guy that at least like sat there and like thought of things to talk about. I don't know if he like converses with that many people. Probably does that thing I do and like reads most of the books just for like the dialogue parts and like everything in the quotes. But then there's like a severe cut to like later, and there's like, hey, like here's a cane instead of like that stick you're just walking around with. Then Aisha's like pregnant. It's like, oh wow, like that definitely worked, huh? Like whatever mood he was like laying down that got her to like confess her name instead of just like taking him up on her or his offer of being fed and housed. It has me like imagining me doing the similar thing, but like now, and it just like doesn't seem right. So it's like, oh man, different time, different time. Like I guess if you like meet someone like while you're like, shopping or something, but it's just like, I don't think that would be like a thing. Maybe you're like, oh yeah, I'll make you dinner sometime whenever you're free, and then it just never seems like it was gonna be taking up, and then like someday like they come and ask about the dinner, like not as a college student. Like that's the only reason why I'm like what? But anyway, that's like a random tangent and kind of like what I do with some of the characters. In theory, that's something that's what happens with every character and like everybody. Or, but then there's like an argument with just the male characters or just the female characters or the ones a certain age. And even if you're like all the way open to every character, like you're like trying to figure out which genre or like theme is like the one you want, and it's like even harder to like track down the demographic for it. Even if like they did like your character, you're like, oh yeah, and then like they like move audiences because like your character is like no longer doing the thing that they're like focused on, like growing up as a college kid or something like that, and then like they're out of college and like kind of looks like your numbers drop, and almost like you're like trying to go find them and like have the bridge be built, but they're like back looking back around like somewhere else, even not in like Disney or even the app. They like moved over some documentary or maybe like a mockumentary of like some people in college like doing something. You wouldn't be able to like tie that together. You're just gonna like, oh, okay, well, crap. You would have people tell you what they liked about it and why, but that's why you just kind of gotta like go up there and like do your thing on your stand and like let whoever come through and let whoever like come and go like however they would like to. That just reminds me of his little like town square thing. He's like over there like almost protesting, but he's just like on his hill like giving his thoughts before the British Columbian soldiers come or whoever that was. Like, I guess there was a rebel right there. Like, that spirit of them transferring over to Kamala's mom from Kamala's, like, grandmas or great grandparents. They live on. But it was, like, so obvious, like, I almost, like, didn't catch it. Every time I watch this episode, it's, like, really quick, even though it's, like, 40 minutes. Usually it's, like, the 28 minutes, and, like, that's the normal amount that's supposed to be quick. But this is, like, a full, like, 35 minutes, and there's, like, no commercials or anything. It's, like, super, like, pew, and, like, you're at the end of the episode. He's like, what? Oh, yeah, Kamala. I forgot about Kamala. Even though they did show her, and it kind of closes the loop with her, like, doing that thing with the stars, but then, like, the toddler grandma somehow, like, breaks it up and turns, like, the little firefly stars that was in the story. But for some actual usual, like, comic book stuff, there's, like, oh yeah, like, now there's actually technically two Bangles now. I don't know if, like, that's how it originally worked, but at very small moments at a time, like, there's, like, the two Bangles, like, right next to each other. Like, I imagine she would have to, like, jump back or forward to any point in time to use the two ones to get to the Noor dimension. I know, like, Aisha and Najma were like, oh yeah, like, this is the one from, like, the stories of the book or whatever. But there's only one, even though it kind of didn't look like any, like, thieves, like, plumed and pilfered anything from that tomb. But I guess it was kind of, like, wrecked after they showed, like, a different angle. And did she, like, put the inscription on there? Like, she's like, hey, let me show you something. Like, and that should explain a lot of stuff, even though it shouldn't. Like, I should just, like, somehow put the inscription on there. And then she, like, summons Kamala. But I like their choice of, like, not, like, stuttering too long about who knows what. There's, like, yeah, okay, I get it. Like, there's, like, some stuff that wouldn't make sense if there's straight up, like, not a camera and, like, this was actually happening, like, at this time. And they're, like, kind of, like, pressing forward. Like, they could have had, like, a few more episodes, like, on Aisha. But it's like, no, this is probably gonna be boring, so you don't want to, like, watch it. It's like, no, please, be boring. I'm only saying that, like, because, like, you're saying it like that, but it's not really, like, boring, but maybe, like, I've had too much excitement or something, but it, like, evens, like, everything out for me, like, as, like, I'm watching it. It's like, oh yeah, like, even kind of like you get that one babysitter or, like, that one person you see, or a teacher even, like, he's like, oh yeah, I just like being here. Like, I know I'm doing, like, terrible in your class, but believe me, like, I would take this again if this was, like, a college, like format. I feel like there's, like, some classes I should have done, like, a little better in, but I was too busy, like adjusting to whatever, like, mood the teacher was bringing to the class. Adjusting in a good way, but this is, like, what the show's doing. I'm just gonna walk out here with the C and, like, just call it there. Like, I'm sorry about that. Just barely scraping by, but yeah, I was there for the people, apparently. It's like, I would imagine, like, now, even after I'm saying that, like, it's like, oh, what'd you think about it? It's like, It was good, I think. It's like, you think? You're really like not trying to like process is it like immediately. Just like want it to like linger like throughout your week or month or however long it lingers. But almost as if you're with the people that like made it or acted in it. You're like, um oh crap, I gotta say something. It was good. Good. Just good. Good. Great. Oh man, that's ruining it. It took me a while to be like, oh yeah, like those two flashback actors are like gorgeous. I was like, oh man, oh where are they from? I want to go visit there. And when I mean gorgeous, is I mean gorgeous. Like you're not even like wondering like what's under like their clothes, like you do sometimes. But all of it's like right there. You're like trying not to blink and stuff, without saying too much about that whole experience right there. But seeing people like that, I got through like several years with these characters like pretty quick, and it didn't seem like off at all. So makes me wonder about what their opinions about it were whenever they were shooting it. I mean, if on a normal level you're like, oh, like this selfie was not so quality or not the quality I wanted to give off, but to rescale it to over there and with that happening, I feel like I'd be like having difficulties with the angles and distances from the camera. Not that it would be so easy for me just to like pick up like just out of nowhere. But it seems cool. Very deliberate. I hope Najma somehow like comes back in like the second season. She just like gets absorbed into the Nor or something and is like Kamran's like powers or something. Even if it's just for Kamala to have like antagonists. There's like the one that two Jin clandestine people are like got crystallized, and like the two guys I guess are still out there technically. It doesn't seem like she would have her own original villain. Like in the comics, she doesn't really have one either, except like the genius like cockatoo, which is like a whole thing. There's like he's like stealing like young people and using them as batteries, and there's like a thing where like the young people like are wanting it to happen even. And I'm pretty sure like there's like a whole commentary with Kamala in the comics just about it's like is this gonna be my big bad? I mean he does have the all the uh tools and mechanized whatever is in henchmen or hench people, but who knows? Like they could just do what the other half of the comic is, and like there's just like random villains just in there. Like Shocker shows up and like does some sort of like residential damage, and there's like a weird looking hideout, and then like I think she teams up with people too a lot. But yeah, it looks like I'll call it until the very last episode of this season of Miss Marvel. I'll do that video in 2 weeks, and then I'm not sure which thing will take its spot for the reviews. But yeah, Alistair, and leave a comment about what you think about the two Bangles thing, and if that's how it's gonna work, or even if you're just waiting for season 2 to happen or the Marvels. I wonder if I could age regress or age up a photo of mine. But hey, you look good, and it shows.